Good afternoon. Welcome to our Midday Mull for Wednesday, the 5th of August. Continuing to reflect on the book of Ruth, re-looking at what we looked at yesterday, where in chapter 1, verse 6, when Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. With her two daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. And as I read that, I thought, she didn't pray about it. There's no fasting and seeking the Lord's will. She merely made her decisions and acted. And as we look through the rest of Ruth, we will see that happening time and again. People just doing things with a sense that God's behind it, but not explicitly acknowledging or seeking that. And it's quite different to the Western world we inhabit today, where so often we split our lives into different compartments, and we have a spiritual life where God's involved, and that will be our quiet times when I'm going to church and all those kind of things. We might have a business life and a social life, and they're all different. Whereas in actual fact, God is in everything. And we might think sometimes that I will pray and seek God's will, and then I'll make a spiritual decision with God guiding me. But when I don't specifically pray, God still guides me. God doesn't go anywhere. The fact that I'm not focusing on God doesn't send him away. As David said, where can I go to get away from you? If I go up to the heights, you're there. If I go to the depths, you're there. If I go to the farthest seas, you're still there. You're everywhere. And that's what God is like. He is in every aspect of our life. Sometimes we will focus on him in our quiet times in church and things like that. We will focus our attention on God, and be listening and trying to get in touch with God. But when we're not focusing on him, it's not that he disappears. He's still there. We're just not focusing on him. And so all of our life is lived in his presence, and every decision we make is made with his being part of it and using it and guiding us. And so be encouraged by this, that God is in everything we do. Whether you're sitting listening to this as you are at the moment and focusing on God, or you're going to go from here off to go and pay your telecom bill and stand in a queue to fight with the people, and sort of that gets quite tense, God's there with you. And tonight as you're falling asleep, God's there. God is in all of our life, not just the spiritual part. And so that needs to be a strength and an encouragement to us. We are God's children, and all of our life, every single part of it, all we think, all we say, all we do is done in the context of God. Whether we're aware of it or not, God's always there. God is always aware of it. So be encouraged by that you are living with God all day. Be blessed.